In theaters on June 21st from Fathom Events and Raven Banner is the Swisspoitation epic Mad Heidi. So this is a take on the classic children's tale of Heidi, but done in a crazy grindhouse exploitation style. As I said, it's right when this movie started with the opening credits, I'm like, clearly somebody saw Grindhouse, because this is really patterned after that. This feels like a lot like Machete, a lot like Iron Sky, a lot like a Troma movie. If any of that means anything to you, I'm not going to tell you the whole story. Basically, the scenario here is it's this weird alternate world where in Switzerland, this fascist dictator played by Casper Van Dien runs this stranglehold on the cheese industry and the dairy industry in that country. And if you're lactose intolerant, it's like you're wearing the star on your vest, and people are sent off and eradicated. We can't have lactose intolerant people. They're a subspecies of humanity. It can't stand. We must consume cheese, and otherwise you're sent off to camps and things like that. So it's sort of like a poor taste, aggressively goofy, aggressively like extreme. Again, think Iron Sky, Hobo with a Shotgun, the Grindhouse movie, the trailers in Grindhouse. It really feels like one of those Grindhouse trailers expanded to feature length. More like the second Machete movie, if you saw that and you know what I'm talking about. So I didn't really like this. Back to the story, but I didn't really care for this. So basically, the Heidi is a 20-something, a fit 20-something who is pushed too far, and in the last, say, third of the film, just goes on the titular Mad Heidi rampage of carnage, just taking bad guys out in gruesome and gory ways. It's a really weird hodgepodge of a movie. It was a crowd-funded film. That's the story behind this, is that it was crowd-funded and totally independent, and it's getting a release through Fathom Events for either one night only. It might be a one-night only thing, and then eventually it'll be on streaming and disc platforms. So June 21st is when you can see this theatrically. And it's really weird. I mean, it's very creative. Some of it is very nicely shot. A lot of it toward the beginning is a ton of green screen and the kind of effects that just take me out of a film where nobody ever really is where they say they are. But then they did go to some actual locations that look great, and they have some really nice location photography here and there. So I'm not going to fault it for that. Some of the performances are pretty good. Most of it, though, is directed to be kind of over the top and kind of arch and kind of, camping it up and things like that. Some odd things with accents in this film. It's supposed to take place in Switzerland, and a few people have fake American accents, and I couldn't figure out why. Like the man who plays Heidi's grandfather clearly to me was not American but pretending to be, and I'm just like, why? It doesn't make any sense why he would be American. I looked him up, and he was a guy, he's in the pub scene, he's a British actor, he's in the pub scene in American Werewolf in London, and there's a couple people who do that, which doesn't really make sense. Even Casper Van Dien is, I believe, faking a Swiss accent in this film. So it really wasn't for me, but if you do like things like Iron Sky, the aforementioned Troma films, it really plays like that. I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. I'm a fan of when something like this could be played more straight. To me, it's funnier if you're not like winking at the camera and things like that. Certainly competently made, but just the tone and the attitude of it was just like, I'm glad you saw Grindhouse. Calm down. Like down to font stuff and fake film damage and the way titles come in. I mean, it's like really a huge homage, shall we say, to that film and to Tarantino. I mean, it's the Grindhouse font. It's the Inglourious Basterds font. I mean, it's very clearly, inspired by that. So it's not going to be a film for everyone. If people really like cult movies or films that... these people made a film and they got it in theaters and they got it on a national release and people are excited about it. All the credit in the world to that. I always feel, though, that if you intentionally set out to make a bad movie, you just make a bad movie. Like, when you try to make a cult movie, it just winds up being not very good. And that's how I felt about Mad Heidi, was that it was just not good. It was just too aggressively trying to be silly, trying to be gross, trying to be goofy, and it just fell flat for me. Your mileage very well may vary. people often will let me know in the comments under these videos when they're on YouTube how wrong I am and how much I don't understand things. So I'm just saying my opinion and telling you what you're going to get. And you may love this, and this may do very well. Hopefully for the filmmakers, it does do very well. I don't want anybody to go broke, doing what they want to do. But it didn't work for me, despite having a good look and some of the effects being pretty good. There is some gore in here. And not that that's an attractive thing necessarily to me, but I know some people like movies solely because they have gore in it. So if that's your criteria, this film has some. And if you really want to see a cheese-based fascist parable with a blade swinging Heidi, then Mad Heidi is the film for you. In theaters, later on video from Fathom Events on June 21, 2023.